Hello everybody, welcome to our video on coding the poker game. In the last video we finished up the design for it. Now what we need to do is introduce the idea of randomness. Okay, so randomness is kind of a tricky concept because it doesn't actually exist. When we consider something random, we consider it random because the outcome is not something we could have anticipated. Not something I could have guessed. So for example, so here we'll get a little existential for a second. If you decide to do something, I, as a person watching you, am not going to be able to guess what you can do, what you will do. But if I know you kind of well, I may be able to make a couple guesses. You know, oh, I know you, and you get, you think it's really funny when this happens. And so I might know that if that happens, you might laugh. But what if I knew you even better? What if I knew what was in your brain? Not reading your mind, but literally knowing where the atoms are in your brain. If I had perfect knowledge of how your brain works, would I be able to guess what you're going to do next? Would I be able to guess that with perfect certainty? Maybe. I don't know. This is a bit more of a philosophical question. Depends on your feelings on free will and stuff. But if we're just looking from a chemical perspective, if I have perfect knowledge of your brain, I should be able to make a pretty strong guess as to what you're going to do. Which is one of the reasons why randomness is so special. If I can't guess what you're going to do, then it feels like you have your control over your own life. I have no say in it. And that makes it feel like I'm playing a game with other people. And so we like to use randomness in games to make it feel like the game is an actual world that you're playing with. Now, in the game of poker, we use randomness for different things. When you pick a card out of a deck, that should be a random card. Realistically, though, is it really random? If I knew perfectly where everything was in the deck, would it be a random card? And the answer is of course not. The computer does the same thing. The computer also can't come up with anything actually random, but what it does is use a super complicated equation to try and come up with a number that we would not have been able to guess. And it's really good at it. If I did have perfect knowledge of the computer, I would be able to guess that. In fact, I can look up what that function is. But as it is, I don't have perfect knowledge of the computer, and so it seems like the computer's coming up with things randomly. All right, so let's use random numbers here. I'm going to double click on my deal button, and that's going to create a button click event for the deal button. What we want to do is create a couple variables. I noticed that there are 52 cards in the deck. I'm going to create a variable that keeps track of where we are in the deck. There is no, so like we're used to making variables like this, dim card 1 as string and stuff like that. There is no dim card 1 as card, right? That's not a thing. So what I'm going to do, at least for now, and you could if you want to create your own card, but we're not going to do that in this project. I'm going to store this as a number, an integer, a whole number. If this is an integer, what that's going to mean is that we're going to try and give it a random value from 1 to 52. And depending on what that number is, we're going to say it's a different card. Maybe 1 will be the ace of clubs, and 2 will be the 2 of clubs, and 3 will be the 3 of clubs. And maybe we'll do it like that. Let's see how we want to do this. But I need one for each card. You should hopefully see why it was so important in the design that we named this PB card 1, because I'm going to name this card 1. And that's going to help us keep the two separate. This is the number of the card. This is the picture of the card. All right, anyway. So we've got PB card 1. I could copy paste this and do PB card 2, PB card 3, PB card 4. Sorry, not PB. Card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4. But we can actually do this a little more efficiently. Because these are all the same type, all integers, we can actually do them all in one line. And I'll do that, just so it's a little cleaner. Card 2, card 3, card 4, and card 5. Notice in my speech I said and card 5. We would not type that into the computer. The computer has no need for the word and. So those are my cards. What we also need is a random number. Now the computer, I did mention earlier that like when we said card 1, let me pick a random number. When it was card 1, we said there wasn't a data type called card. Well, there is a data type called random. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a random number. I'm going to call this my num. So my random number that I came up with. We're going to store this as a random. And we see if I start typing rand, I see that a class called random pops up. This is perfect. See how the word integer, though, is blue, and the word random is like a teal kind of color? This is because integer is something called a primitive. It's a data type that comes natively on the computer, and it has a bunch of stuff associated with it. Random, however, although this came from a library on the computer, does not actually come from Visual Basic, the language itself. And so when I create a new random number, I have to do something a little differently. I can't just say card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, card 5. I have to say my num as a random and then set it to a new random number. This tells the computer that we are making a new one. So I now have a random thing called my num, and we can do stuff with that. What I want to do here is I'm going to start off by saying card 1, which is a number, remember, card 1 equals my num dot next. So this is a function within random that will give us well, let's look at what it says. Returns a non-negative random integer. I wonder what these integers look like. Let's try this out. I'm going to make a little message box here. Message box. For those of you who are doing this on your own, you do not need to type this in. This is just me testing. So card 1, and I'm going to say .toString because this has to be a string. All right, so let's run it and see what pops up. Let's see what a random number from my num looks like in a second. Maybe it'll load eventually. Maybe not. I believe in it, though. There we go. Nope, still didn't load. There we go. All right, I'm going to hit deal, and it says, oh, shoot. Okay, that's 804,789,215. I feel like that number might be a little too big for what I need. What if I click it again? Oh, it gives me a different number. Still in the millions, though. Another number? This one might be in the trillions. Or billions. And yeah, so I get a bunch of different numbers. But they do seem to be random. I don't think I could have guessed what would have happened here. So, our problem, though, is that the numbers are too big. Let's see if there's another thing within random that we can look at. Let's take a look at random as a class. So let's look through here. We've got something called a seed array. Okay. We've got a sample. Okay. We've got next. Oh, here's that. It returns that sample. Great. We've got another next. Oh, this will give us a range on it. Well, maybe let's try that. Let's see. Let's read what this says. The inclusive lower bound, the exclusive upper bound. Okay, let me tell you mathematically what that means. This means that if I put in a number, it could give me the lowest number that I put in, but it will not give me the higher. Inclusive means it's included. Exclusive means it's not included. So, I also see that this is returning an integer, which is what we want. Okay, this will give us a whole number. And we kind of want that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say next, and then I'm going to put 2 numbers in here. I'm going to want the lowest number to be 1 and the highest number to be 52. Let's test that now. Numbers between 1 and 52. Click. All right, 9 is between 1 and 52. 25, okay. 24, 46, 16, 27, 21, 17, 43, 14, 23. Awesome. Got a bunch of great options here. Let's do that for all of our cards. I'm going to get rid of this testing line now. Right, copy, paste, 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 because we've got 4 cards. I have 2, 3, 4, and 5. Great. So this is going to give us a random number. I'm hoping that this gives us a different random number each time. Let's see if it does that. I really shouldn't have gotten rid of that message box, but let's do it anyway. Message box.show. And we want to show card 1.toString, and then let's just show card 2 as well. And then we'll make sure that they're not the same thing. They should be between 1 and 52, but look, they're 2 different numbers, 5 and 44. Not in that order. All right, awesome. So we are getting different numbers. Now I can get rid of this. I'm going to regret it, I'm sure. All right, cool. So let's just keep going with that. Okay, so what I want to do now is show a certain picture depending on which card I picked. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's make a note of this. I'm going to have 1 through 13. These will be our hearts. I'm going to have 14 through 26 be our diamonds. I'm going to have 27 through 39 be our spades. And 40 through 52 be our clubs. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if card 1 equals 1, then we want PB card 1 dot image to be equal to image dot from file. That's not from file. From file. And then we want this to be, let's see, this would be the ace of hearts. So I want, let's look up what ace of hearts is. ah.png. ah.png. Okay. And then, well, I'd love to test this, but it's going to give us a random number. I guess let's just keep clicking until we get it and see if it pops up. Click, click, click. Oh, there it was. Okay, we got the ace of hearts. Awesome. All right, let's do all 52 other cards. ... And then do it 4 more times. Huh. So if I'm going to do 52 cards, 5 times total, and each of them takes 3 lines, how many lines is that total? The answer? Way too much. About 760 some lines. That's too many lines. I bet there's a more efficient way of doing this. So jump in on the next video and you will be able to see what that new method is. I'm going to start off though by ditching that. All right, join me on the next video.